Well, hello and welcome all you wonderful people out there in YouTube land, and welcome once again to the Texas Special YouTube channel. For the second 2024 8 Days of Christmas O-Gauge video, we are going to be taking a look at this Lionel MPC era Christmas Carolers Express trolley. Now this little guy is a Facebook Marketplace acquisition. He was purchased specifically for the Texas Model Railroad Club's O-Gauge modular railroad to be running on the trolley line during the holiday season. And this guy is based, the tooling and basic mechanism of this guy is based off of the old post-war era Lionel number, I believe it's number 60 trolley. So we will do a quick little deep dive on this guy and watch him go running around the railroad. Unfortunately, I was not able to acquire the box or packaging with this item, and it came pretty much as it sits right here. So the first thing we'll notice on this guy, now that the track is dead, again, this was a second-hand item off of Facebook Marketplace, so it is not by any means pristine. You have some rust on the trolley pole. From a distance, it's not really that noticeable. The springs, the anchor points for the spring on this end of the catenary pole is broken. Again, this is small cosmetic stuff that can be fixed. There is a spring missing here, and you can see this spring hanging off here. You've got these little cast-on little dimples here. Cast on what appears to be a ladder right here on the roof, and some cast-on grab irons here. The doors don't operate. These are cast on to the car body. You see a very nice, very festive green and gold paint job on the body, the window panels, and the roof of the car, as well as the doors. You have some very nicely done little graphics, you know, little drummer boy, Christmas carolers, musical notes, stars, and a very clearly and legibly done Christmas Carolers Express on a little banner there on the side of the trolley. And of course some little musical notes along the panels of the door. Cast on stirrup step right here just below the door so passengers can safely get on and off. Looking at the lead end of the car, you have the motorman, and you got a guy standing there by the doorway. You have an operating LED headlight. I was incorrect. This is not an MPC era. I can see the Lionel stamp there, built 2007 by Lionel. So this is a modern era piece. You have the little Lionel writing there on the little panel, and the characteristic bumper. Now the reversing unit or E unit on these trolleys was activated by this little bumper. It would hit a bumper and it would reverse direction, with no input required by the operator, so that you could just set it on the track and it would go bounce back and forth, just ping pong along the track. Now obviously, yes, you can put this on a traditional loop of track and it will run just fine. It just won't reverse direction unless you put your hand in front of it and cause it to bump the bumper. Closing the throttle and opening the throttle like you would for a traditional, conventional locomotive isn't going to do anything. It's just going to take right back off in the same direction it was traveling when it stopped. The opposite end of the car is identical, so no reason to go in deep in depth. We'll look at the roof real quick, and you can see it's a little dirty, it's a little worse for the wear. This guy was sitting in a box in an attic for a long time before it was liberated, and it ran. We popped it on the railroad and she ran smooth as silk. So there are those little, I'm assuming those are for like lighting, recessed lighting in the car body. Little nodules there. And the little catenary poles. And the ladders and grab irons that I referenced earlier. So this piece has a pretty interesting little setup for the power pickup versus your traditional pickup rollers. It is a plate. It is one continuous metal plate, and of course you can see the 4 wheels of the unit. These wheels spin freely. They're not attached to the motor mechanism, and these wheels are the wheels that are attached to the motor mechanism. And you can see the little sliding plate here for the bumper activated E-unit or reversing unit. So I have these little Holiday Village fence panels kind of wedged into the track. Now they're wood, and I double checked them. There's no staples or metal contacting the rail. They are wedged in between the ground, the outer ground rail and the inner hot rail. So there is no electrical contact between the 2 rails. I'm just going to apply just enough power to get this thing moving so you can see the bumper activated reversing unit in action. To get it started with the power applied, you give a little tap, and there is the unit operating as intended. Now, just to prove y'all the point that I was making earlier, I'm going to open the throttle and close it. Open it again and close it. You can see it did not go into neutral. This unit does not have a neutral setting. It only has forward and reverse settings. And as I said earlier, opening and closing the throttle will not reset the reversing unit. It only works with the bumpers. Now, that being said, let's watch this little guy go around Main 2 on the South Texas Railroad for a little bit. Right now I have this guy running on 042 curves, but this little trolley, any of these little trolleys or motorized units are very capable of running on curvature as tight as 027. So there's literally no track out there on the market that these guys will not run on. Now, because I'm still trying to work this trolley's engine, or excuse me, motor and drivetrain back into a broken in state, I guess you could say. Taking it kind of easy. That was only about half throttle, but as you can tell, there wasn't any arcing or any grinding noises. The motor wasn't, visually or audibly struggling or hesitating or hanging up or binding up. So I think this little guy is in good shape and has definitely found a good, loving home to live out the remainder of its days when the air starts to get that little nip at your nose. When the wind starts getting a little cool, people start thinking of putting up them Christmas trees. So I hope y'all enjoyed the video, and I hope some of y'all get to come out and see this guy running around on the trolley line on the Texla Model Railroad Club's all new O-Gauge Modular Railroad. Thank y'all for watching, and happy holidays.